Hi, and welcome back. Well, it's that time of the season again. Actually, I'm probably a little late. What season am I talking about? Graduation season. That time when you hear all these emotional and inspirational commencement addresses. Well, maybe. I've had my fair share of commencement speeches, some really good, some not so good. And so rather than offer advice to new graduates, I would like to focus on those parents and provide maybe a little context about maybe what the last 12 plus years have been for you. And really, this may be geared towards newer parents, probably especially newer parents, but parents in my life stage where my triplets will be going from middle school to high school next year. This could be for parents that are in a similar situation where they have kids going from elementary school to middle school or from college to their working careers. It doesn't matter. I just know I just rattled off like 3 or 4 transitions that many people are woefully unprepared for, not only financially, but emotionally as well. And that's one of the things I like to focus on with the show, whether it's the YouTube channel or the podcast, is focusing on those life transitions. And even with a new twist of focusing on things that never change. And my friend Morgan Housel wrote this article almost 10 years ago now. His son, hard to believe, will be 10, I think, this year. He wrote this article for his son, and I'll link to it in the show notes. But it was titled Financial Advice for My New Son. And he noted 10 different pieces of advice. And I'm going to pick and choose a few that I think are important and kind of relate them to where we're at today. But as many of you know, Morgan I talk about Morgan a lot on the channels, on the platforms. He's one of the best financial writers that I've ever come across in my career. So I like to find inspiration in some of his work, and this is no doubt one of them that I think can be shared throughout the years. So I'll lead off with his very first one. And it says, you might think you want an expensive car, a fancy house, or a huge house, and a fancy watch. But he's telling his son, no, you don't. What you really want is respect and admiration from other people. And you think that having expensive stuff, like a fancy house, fancy car, fancy watch, will bring that. But it almost never does, especially from the people who you want respect from and those who you want to admire you. I don't think that one ever goes away. This one, I like this one. This may sound harsh, but I hope you're poor at some point. And I think I've actually been struggling with this a little bit myself, and especially in the days of social media, instant gratification. My kids see everything that other kids do and vice versa. And I think this is one of the areas where parents have a really hard time, and especially not only emotionally but financially, in keeping up with others and keeping up with others through their kids, through the latest fashion designs. I never thought that skincare would be such a huge ordeal for 7th and 8th graders. But that one has hit me like a ton of bricks over these last few years. All the sports, the camps, the travel leagues, all of it that just adds up. And I think with this point, I want my kids to understand that there's opportunity cost, that you can't have it all. And as Morgan put it in his piece, he even said, I hope you learn how to budget. And I'm not sure if I would use the word budget, but I would use the phrase, and I've used this before, learn how to spend efficiently and always learn how to save efficiently. Those two go hand in hand. And what I mean by that is you can spend things on material things that make you feel good for a few minutes here and there, but really focus on what are the things that last a lifetime, that your spending becomes invaluable. Dinners out with friends, a trip with a loved one, things of that nature last a whole lot longer than a new car or a bigger house. This may be applicable to new grads, but I think it also applies to parents as well. Don't stay in a job you hate, because you unwittingly made a career choice when you're 18 years old. That doesn't mean that you can't change your mind. They call midlife crises for a reason. And it's usually now, maybe it's older now, or the age limit has raised. But to me, I think it was always like age 40 to 45. And people kind of look in themselves in the mirror and realize, Is this all there is? Is this what I'm going to be doing? And you could pretty much say the same thing for a job as you can relationships. And so one thing that I always emphasize to my TAMMA kids, which are the sons and daughters of the parents I work with, is that no one knows what you want to do at age 18, even at age 22, like getting out of college. I know plenty of recent college grads that are still trying to figure out what it is they want to do. And so I think that holds for parents as well. So stay nimble, stay flexible. This is another one of my favorites. The best thing money buys is control over your time. And money, I've always felt like having it gives you optionalities and frees you from relying on someone else's priorities. One day you'll learn or realize freedom is one of the things that makes you truly happy. That's directly from Morgan, and I couldn't agree more. And it's something that I try to instill in my own kids and have communications with other parents as well, is that, saving for something or teaching somebody to save for something when they're young, the return on that investment is unreal. It's unreal. Here's a related one. Your savings rate has little to do with how much you earn and a lot to do with how much you spend. I think I kind of covered this before, but he noted that he knows plenty of people that live paycheck to paycheck and always on this sliver's edge of financial ruin and have never earned. And then he knows other people, and I know this too for a fact of working with families. I know families that earn a lot less than most, but have more money in the bank. And it's not that they deprive themselves from living life. They just make conscious decisions. And again, it goes back to what's the real purpose of money? And I think it is to fulfill that optionality, to have options, to be able to call your own shots. His last one is, don't listen to me if you disagree with what I've written. And I'm sure he would probably say the same thing 10 years later after writing this. I know I certainly will. I know when my triplets were first born nearly 15 years ago, I wrote them a letter kind of similar to this. And I know in having conversations with families I've worked with for years and years, they pull me in to have these types of conversations with their kids. Why? Because parents know that at some point, their kids stop listening to them, and then they are the dumb parent, if you will. Even though I may tell them the exact same thing that their parents did, but because I'm a outsider, a trusted third party, if you will, they listen to me. And I was just having this conversation with one of the closest people in my life about this very topic and how important it is, especially for boys, she said, to have mentors and role models at not only early ages, but in every stage of life. And I was really lucky. I had a very special set of people. Some were my family, an aunt and uncle, godparents, and some that were pseudo-parents to me, like the Hoffs. And their guidance and support were truly immeasurable. And having a conversation with Melody Hoff recently just reminded me of that very fact. So hopefully you found some value in this, parents, some lessons that I've learned over the years, and obviously lessons that Morgan Housel has written about that you can pass down to your kids that will help make them better people, help make you better parents, and help build stronger relationships with your kids. That's all for this week. We'll see you next time.